And here we are.
They gonna start to think that the only clothes I own all have Marriott carpet on them.
Dog, I've known you for over 20 years, and I'm starting to think that.
This is actually brand new. It's my first time wearing this shirt.
I was going to say, I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, this is in preparation of the Dragon Con.
Dog, I'm like, how are you getting this stuff outside of Dragon Con?
This is off Etsy, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that make Marriott carpet stuff, especially this time of year.
So for those of you who are not initiated, Dragon Con is a very special nerd mecca here in the southeastern region of the United States. And homie Caleb here has been rocking quite a bit of the Marriott merch. One of the is it the hosting hotel itself?
Well, it's one of
the hosting hotels is the Marriott, and they got that that type of print that is recognizable.
Yeah. They should have never taken that carpet out, man, because everyone loved the carpet, and then they took it out, and then the popularity of it, skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
it's crazy. Sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot, with shit like that.
Speaking of skyrocketing popularity, man, you read any more Secret History over there? How's that coming?
I was trying to find the that transition, how that worked.
Yeah.
But I have read a little bit more. I think now I'm about maybe 2/3 of the way through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You obviously can't tell me about what's happening because there's not a single page in that book that's not spoilerific.
That's true, yeah, because it is very, very condensed and to the point.
Yeah, it is. The pacing in that shit is, it's crazy.
They hit the ground going and they don't fucking let up.
No.
It's been great, though. Yeah, I've had a great time with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're liking it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that one wraps up, too. Man, it's been something.
Yeah. The reason I swerved into the skyrocketing popularity is, obviously Sanderson. Sanderson is, he's setting new Kickstarter records as we sit here. So
again,
yeah, because that's sort of the tabletop game.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're at I think $8 million as of today, and they still have like 20 days left.
Damn.
They had like 25,000 backers.
That's insane.
Yeah. It's gonna be one of the most popular tabletop games like the day it comes out, basically.
Shit.
The only things that are really going to be beyond it, I'm sure somebody's going to comment and be like, oh, well, what about, But if you're looking at purely like tabletop, like RPGs, it's basically going to be D&D, Pathfinder, and then this, and then the Cosmere RPG, I think is just what they're calling it. But, obviously, if you're going to include, like, Warhammer is obviously bigger, but that's not really an RPG. It's more of just, it's more of just a battle game. So.
Yeah, so in terms of that tabletop, is that going to be more in line of, like, a dice mechanic type game, like a D&D or...
Yeah, it's going to be, for those of you who are familiar with, like, the Fantasy Flight, Star Wars, Edge of the Empire type thing, it honestly really reminds me of a kind of mashup between 5e and that. It's their own system they developed, but they do use the standard D20 system for dice. And honestly, like, if you do something other than that, you're really just setting yourself up for failure, to be honest. Because one of the things that people love about tabletop gaming is they love their dice, the dice goblins.
The clickety clacks.
Yeah. So, everybody wants to have their own, like, little special dice. And I think that's kind of what got in the way of the Fantasy Flight games a lot, is them using their own dice systems. People want to get their own custom dice, and almost all the custom dice out there, far and wide are D20 system dice. So,
right.
I think it was very smart to stick with that. Yep. But it's really interesting. They keep adding stuff every day because people are just piling on to it. But the fact that they already have it's going to start out with as a Stormlight thing, but the fact that they already have 3 Mistborn rule books done and ready to go, and they're going to do basically the whole Cosmere, where it makes sense. So, and they already have some like World Hopper adventures planned where like people can go. You can have people from different worlds and different systems.
Man, Sanderson, he seems to be really good at two things: writing books and making money.
Yeah, yeah. He is very good at both of those things.
Right.
Yeah. Which, we can't really. I don't consider this a spoiler, but where you're at now, you can kind of see how the interplanetary travel kind of works.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It's super interesting how that whole aspect is playing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that kind of evolves and opens up more.
Yeah.
It was good to finally meet Chrysala.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Yeah. You're the only person I know that's ever known who that was at that point in time.
Yeah. We go back.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
But speaking of evolving, we have our subject matter here today.
Yeah. Actually, no. Before we get into that,
we got something else. Yes.
Yeah. As of this recording, there's a couple of interesting things that happened today. First of all, as of this recording, it is the homie Kevin's birthday. So,
hey,
shout out to the homie Kev, and his day of birth, his day of badassery, and also
I should probably text him.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. And also, today is the day that Sony has decided to release their second trailer for the Kraven the Hunter movie. And
this is the one I sent you?
Yeah, that would be the one. And it has been an interesting turn of events, seeing how it has been received online. I think that this trailer is, honestly, it might be the best case scenario for them, the people who are making that movie, and for Sony. I think that this trailer it really showcases the violence. It showcases like a faster pace, and what they do a good job at is speeding past a lot of the bullshit that if you're a fan of Kraven in any capacity, you would not like. Things like him still being an animal rights activist. It still sounds like parody. It's funny because you see a shot in that trailer where Kraven is wearing like the iconic lion's pelt, around his body, and I'm like, how did he get that?
Right. So I gotta say, I have almost no basis on the comics, with Kraven. So going into this, like the trailer to me, and I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot all about it. The trailer to me looks quite good. It had the opposite effect of the Venom trailer, right? Because the Venom trailer made me. There was a movie, this is a movie I already don't want to see, and then the trailer made me not want to see it even more. But with Kraven, I didn't want to see this movie at all. But I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay, this looks way more enjoyable than everything else from the Sony Spider-Verse or whatever.
Yeah.
Other than the actual like Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah.
Well, but it looks to me like they made a mildly comic book flavored John Wick.
Yeah, right.
And if that's what it is,
then
cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I think this would be one of those movies where if they play their cards right, the best case scenario is if I turn my brain off and forget that there's a Kraven the Hunter and the Spider-Man comic books, I might be able to enjoy this movie.
Right.
I think that's best case scenario for them. And it's going to be better than Morbius or Madam Web, or I think it's going to be better than Venom.
The trailer was better than Morbius and Madam Web.
How was it that we're getting an R-rated Kraven movie, but yet we've gotten 3 Venom movies that I'm pretty sure are all PG-13?
Yeah. Yeah, it is weird that this was like the point where they were like, yeah, go with the R rating. It almost makes me wonder if there's a PG-13 cut of this and they wanted to see how Deadpool and Wolverine did.
That's interesting.
Because like the first trailer that they released did not have that R-rated feel to it.
Interesting.
But then now all of a sudden, Deadpool and Wolverine, by the time we record this, has probably passed Joker to become the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. As I just said, it's making gangbusters.
Yeah.
At the movies. So yeah, I could see why they would go, okay, it's fine. Go ahead and put a R-rated out. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot of minors, but the ones I do know, they don't know who the fuck Kraven the Hunter is. So,
right.
And
my thing is, speaking of Deadpool and Wolverine, I remember there were YouTubers who I would see, and not us. By the way, you can find us on YouTube now.
You can,
yeah,
where you can see my various DragonCon merch.
That you can. But there were YouTubers months ago who would say things like, "I'm sure that Deadpool and Wolverine would do all right, but it's not going to make $1 billion."
Right.
And then I would like you guys not to pat ourselves on the back here. We're not about that here.
I am. He may not be, but I am.
But you can go back and listen to the podcast from a few months ago, hell, maybe even a year or so ago, when we were talking about Deadpool and Wolverine and about its potential financial gain. And I think that we're both in agreement that, yeah, this movie's going to make over $1 billion. And it was weird to me because I never thought that people would bet against this movie. Like, out of all the movies to bet against making $1 billion, it's just weird that people didn't think that this would be the one.
Yeah, I mean, in kind of the same theme of our main topic tonight, both of the Deadpool movies made more money than all of the movies in the X-Men universe. They made more money than Days of Future Past. They made more money than Logan. Maybe Fox just wasn't great about marketing, or the fact that they had a lot of massive missteps, like. This wasn't the MCU, They didn't come out with fucking Avengers and then fuck up once or twice. Right. This was like, oh, okay, that they made an X-Men movie, okay, and superheroes weren't that popular, at this point in time. They were popular, but it wasn't like it is today.
Yeah.
And then X2, a lot of people swear by it, but I think it's just a fun X-Men chapter. It feels like it came right out of the animated show,
right,
and or off the pages of the comics. And then 3, they fucking tanked, and then they were like, "We'll fix it. We'll come out with Origins Wolverine. Everyone will love that." And then that movie was considered awful as fuck from jump.
Yeah, that movie got leaked. Remember that?
I actually for several years had only seen the leaked version.
Oh, wow!
Because I actually had a copy of the movie about like 2 months before it came out in theaters with like the unfinished graphics and everything. Yeah.
I mean, they're still unfinished, but yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I remember watching the scene where the helicopter blows up or whatever, and I was like, they were done with that.
Homies, or you, Kelp, could correct me if I'm wrong, but I am fairly confident that Logan was actually the highest grossing R-rated movie until Deadpool came out the next year.
Yeah.
And then Deadpool was the highest rated our highest grossing R-rated movie until Joker.
And Joker is at 1.07 billion, and Deadpool and Wolverine is sitting at 1.05 right now. So
right there,
there's If it doesn't destroy it today, it will this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's going to be a good time. I've heard rumors that Marvel is actually currently they're potentially looking at doing a sequel
to Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
Deadpool and Wolverine too. I mean,
the Wolverineing, yes. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say no, but man, like it just goes to show that they really want to back the right horses now.
Right. I mean, rather, I think maybe, and I don't want to make this the MCU episode. Those were the last two.
Yes. Go check those out.
Go check those out. We had a lot of fun ranking the entirety of the MCU. But yeah, which we did over 2 episodes. We were in here for like 5.5 hours recording all of that. But yeah, I mean, I think James Gunn going out and picking Guardians of the Galaxy out of nowhere and making it into $1 billion, I think that got it into somebody's head at Disney. Maybe it's Kevin Feige, maybe it isn't. That they could just do that with whatever, Like, well, shit. I mean, let's get Eternals. They got a lot of characters. That's $1 billion. You know. Okay, who else do we have? I mean, shit. We got, you know. I hate to use this example, but like, we got Miss Marvel. You know. And granted,
we got Shang-Chi. You know,
I think they already were planning on Shang-Chi, but
you think so?
Yeah,
they might have. I don't know.
And here's the thing: they don't all need to make $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Thor wasn't making $1 billion before fucking, you know, Avengers 1 and 2 came out.
Yeah, Thor actually never made $1 billion.
I thought Ragnarok made $1 billion.
870 million.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, you know, one of the main characters. I mean, Black Widow is never going to make $1 billion. A fucking Hawkeye movie's not going to make $1 billion. As a matter of fact, the only solo movie that the only two solo movies that made $1 billion is Civil War, and do you even count that?
No.
Because that's Avengers 2.5.
That's 2.5.
And then you have Iron Man 3, which is diggity dog shit. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is true. You don't really look at the solo movies to do that kind of revenue, typically.
Yeah. So I think I think there is something to, people really like this, let's make more of it. I mean, obviously, you don't want your creative, like, spark to be that, right, because that's how you get in trouble real fucking fast.
Yeah.
That's how you get into, you're making your third shitty Venom movie.
Right. I feel that Sony is just reaching into, like, their toy box and being like, what haven't we played with yet?
Right.
Like, here's a Craven. We haven't done this one yet. Yeah. I got a Madam Web over here. You know, just.
That one is so bizarre to me. Like,
right.
I want to know, like, what the genesis of that movie was. Like, who originally sat down and was like, you know what? Madam Web, the movie.
Yeah.
Were they just like, we want a female character? Like, how about a fucking Spider-Gwen movie then? If you were going to.
Right.
If you wanted a.
Yeah, why not do that? Like, that is. Right. If you wanted the opportunity to make money, you know, specifically with a female spider-centric character, you know that Gwen will make you money.
Right.
But instead, they're like, let's do Madam Web.
Madam Web wouldn't have even been in my top 5.
Right.
I would have probably. I feel like a fucking Mary Jane Watson movie would have made more money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it could have been Mary Jane just
doing shit.
Yeah, like, day-to-day activities.
Yeah. Not the one from the video game, though.
No, not that one. Not when they bring the whole video game to a halt to take pictures and sneak. Yeah. Preferably not that. Speaking of which, man, before we move on to the main event, there was just a whole train of thoughts that happened right here. Okay. I was thinking about the Spider-Man games, and I was like, man, it's crazy how those games probably have had the best non-comic book version of Kraven in the sequel. He was great in the sequel. And also Rhino, who is in Insomniac Spider-Man 1 and the Miles Morales game. And then it got me thinking, what you think about Rhino here in this in the trailer?
Rhino looked awesome in the trailer.
Bruh.
I popped for that shit.
Like, there's been a lot of mixed reception for Rhino. And I'm like, would you guys prefer the Paul Giamatti?
In the crazy shredder suit or whatever?
Right.
You know, I can understand maybe you wanted to have like a mech Rhino or whatever, but it looked so silly.
It did.
It literally looked like it fell out of the Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah, and not in a good kind of way either.
Hey, this is really random, but we're still in the cold open, so I'm safe. Did you know that Alien and Blade Runner take place in the same universe? Did you know this?
Who the fuck said that? What?
No, it's a whole thing. Like,
is it because they're both Ridley Scott movies?
Maybe, but I mean that didn't hurt. But yeah, like apparently, what's the crazy corporation in Blade Runner? The Tyrell,
something like that.
Something like that. So one of the people on the spaceship in Alien actually like worked for them. And there's also apparently a Weyland Yutani like logo in one of the Blade Runner movies on one of the crates or something. I just found this out today.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, all of the Alien movies take place off world. So.
Yeah. You don't even go to Earth.
Yeah, you know? But yeah, it's that kind of. Well, in Resurrection they like pull up to Earth.
Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah. Anyway, that was random, but I that shit blew my mind.
That is crazy. Also, I need to go see the new Alien movie, Romulus.
It looks awesome.
It does. It does.
Kay has only ever seen what was she's only ever seen Prometheus.
Oh, that's all she's seen.
Only alien movie she's ever seen. And I was like, I don't think you're gonna want to see Romulus. I was like, there's a lot of jump scares in it. It looks like it's very much a horror movie.
Right.
And she was like, I don't know. I liked Prometheus, and I was like, yeah, that's not the same thing. How about we watch the first one and then see if you still want to go see this one?
Yeah. I still love the first one.
I love all of them but 3 and Covenant.
Yeah, you didn't like Covenant. Yeah.
I don't know which one I like less out of 3 and Covenant. Like, obviously, Covenant has Michael Fassbender. So, like, if I just want to spend a bunch of time with Michael Fassbender as a robot and not really have anything to do with any aliens, then Covenant, And then 3 is just a terrible film.
Yeah, 3 is just an awful film, right? And I get it. Like, Covenant for me, and this turned into the Aliens podcast.
It did.
But Covenant for me really isn't, they don't really go too much into, like, the xenomorph lore, which is what people were looking for after Prometheus.
Right, yeah.
But it does give you more about, more the David lore, which is, like, one of the characters Fassbender played.
Yeah, and I hated that shit so much. I was like, I'm not here for this. I don't give a fuck about this.
Right.
Oh my God. Hated that shit so bad. We should review Romulus, and when we do, we should rank the Alien films.
Ooh. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Including AVP.
Oh, and both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's an official timeline order.
There is.
The AVPs are actually
first.
First. Yeah, they're the earliest.
That can't be right, though.
No, yeah, it is.
I guess they would, because all the other ones take place in the future.
Yeah, so it's like both the AVPs and then Prometheus.
Right.
And then it goes from there.
Then Alien 1.
Yeah, so it's, those, Prometheus, Covenant,
then
Alien, then Romulus, then Aliens, then 3, and then Resurrection is the last one, Yeah,
because where do you go after Resurrection? Yeah.
Right? I actually like that movie, though. A lot of people really hate it.
I don't hate Resurrection, but... I'm never clamoring for it either.
Isn't that the movie that got Winona Ryder kind of banned from Hollywood for a long time?
She's in it, so I mean,
and then I guess, you didn't see her in shit until Stranger Things.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
that's weird.
She apparently went off the rails. Yeah. Well. Anyway, speaking of off the rails,
homies, one and all, welcome back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with my good friend, my brother, the homie Caleb.
What up? We're here on the video.
If
you're on the video, you can see that my hands are in the air, and I'm not waving them, but I do care.
He does care, though.
And we are here, and we're talking about something near and dear to my heart today. We usually are on here. It's just whether I feel that way about it at the time.
Well, you can hate something and it still be near and dear to your heart, too.
I mean, that could be why I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Iron Man 3. I really thought this was gonna be a great movie based on this trailer you guys showed me. So
yeah, nice fake out you guys did. Mandarin.
Yeah. So today, so normally when we talk about a thing, we have a spoiler free section at the beginning, but that's not going to be necessary today because the movie we're talking about today is 10 years old. This is the 10-year anniversary of X-Men: Days of Future Past. And so we thought we would take a minute to come on here and talk about this monumentous entry into the X-Men franchise. And then we are specifically today, because we haven't done it, we're going to be talking about the road cut.
Yeah. Days of Future Past, that was such a phenomenal treat for me 10 years ago. The X-Men franchise was in kind of a weird state at that point.
Yeah,
they had gone the First Class route, which was its own interesting kind of film. It was a Matthew Vaughn film, and I typically like his movies. But First Class it didn't have specifically the characters that people were really clamoring for, and they had kind of a hodgepodge mix-up of a roster for First Class as well. And I mean, ultimately, it was a fine movie with some very odd choices in it.
I think with First Class, it seemed like they were trying to jump on that, that same bandwagon that everybody else is still trying to get on, is the MCU bandwagon, right? Where they were like, yeah, this is going to be like our origin movie.
Right.
And they had First Class. And I don't think anybody had any complaints about, Xavier and Magneto. It's like, damn, they perfect casted them twice.
Yeah.
But that's like where the praise stops for it, right? Like, I got to admit, First Class is one of my least favorite X-Men movies. And I think the only movie that I would watch, let's see, I think I would watch any of them except for Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix before I would watch
even
First
X3.
Class. Yeah,
wow.
yeah, but I like Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Yeah, I like Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy.
Yeah, the plot. Don't get me wrong. First Class has some incredible moments to me. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the pacing in this movie is terrible. I love the beginning, and I love the montage, right? Where they go out and recruit people, and then we actually get to see something that we don't get to see a lot of in the movies. We actually get to see Xavier doing his thing, and he's actually going out and okay, so what's your ability? What can you do? Show me, and he's trying to help them find ways to use and control their abilities. Mm-hmm. You never really get to see that.
Yeah.
And I love that aspect of it. I actually really love the Hugh Jackman cameo in this one.
Yeah.
And I love the very end, like the actual Magneto stuff at the end is incredible. I feel like everything in between those two things, it put me to fucking sleep, man. Yeah, it's got like a 45-minute slog in there.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's certainly not one of my favorite go-to movies. But I don't know. I thought that it's alright.
It was. I mean, at the time, it was incredibly refreshing, right? But
yeah, but I guess I was just more weirded out by some of the choices they made, like the Mystique and Professor X brother sister relationship type deal. That was weird.
I didn't hate that. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly probably a good thing that they did it for this movie, because it plays into this movie well.
But I didn't need it in this movie either, if I'm being honest.
That's fair.
I mean, honestly, the whole thing could have been scrapped for me. And I feel like they only did it because they got, Jennifer Lawrence.
And they wanted to make her a babyface.
Yep. Wanted to make her a babyface and wanted to make her like one of the lead characters.
They did. They really wanted her to be like the franchise.
Yeah.
And no one. Honestly, I would have been fine if Mystique was left out of this franchise, because she had already been heavily used in 1, 2, and 3.
And I thought that she was very, very well portrayed in those.
Yeah. It was the character that we all know from the comics and the animated show. Mm-hmm. And then in this one, we got Xavier's little Princess Mystique.
Yeah. And which it only modeled up the timeline even more, if you ask me, because how do you explain them never having anything to say towards each other in the original trilogy?
Ever. Yeah. Wait, do they interact?
I'm pretty sure they don't.
Yeah, I don't think they do. Yeah. I don't think they actually ever have a chance to come face to face.
It's the same thing with Wolverine and Sabretooth, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, if that's the same Sabretooth, then how come there's no recognition at all, Yeah, especially on Sabretooth's part.
Right, and I mean, even in Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, are we going to talk about this? No? Okay.
No, okay.
All right,
cool.
All right. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That was a quick cameo anyway. So.
Yeah. But yeah, Days of Future Past took place not Days of Future Past, but First Class took place in the 60s. And, that was supposed to mirror the early days of the X-Men. They're forming together, and Professor X using his gratuitous money to open up the schools. And so we fast forward to the 70s, and here we have Days of Future Past. And again, just coming off the heels of First Class, I'm not going to say the expectations were low for Days of Future Past, but you know, this movie had a little bit more going for it. For example, they had a lot of the original cast coming back.
Yep, people were really excited for that.
Yeah. And they had the fact that they were adapting a very popular comic book into the franchise. And so, people were like, hey, we're looking forward to this kind of, so don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it goes without saying, this is my favorite movie with the word X-Men in it. Hands down. I love this movie. I actually, depending on what I want out of a movie, I even like it better than Logan in some ways. It definitely, like, if I want to be like sad, I would watch Logan. If I want to see some absolute badass ruler cool, I would watch this. This movie to me is, I mean, it's right up there with like the Avengers movies. I mean, if we had ranked it in our MCU ranking,
it would have been high.
It would have been high. Yeah, this movie was tremendous, and it's not even, the thing about it is the original cast. They were very well used, I thought, in this. I love how they're used in the road cut. They got more screen time in the road cut than they did in the original. But I thought that in both of them, really, they kind of get just the right amount.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I do kind of wish that the original cast had gotten a little bit more, even in the road cut.
Yeah.
And again, I've already spoken a little bit about my distaste for all the Mystique shit that we get. And it's more in this movie because the moral crutch is on Mystique all throughout this movie. But a prop here. This here, don't know if you guys can see that or not, is the deluxe edition for the Days of Future Past comic book. I really don't even remember when I got this, but it's a good one, and it looks like a thick boy, and just for an oversized hardcover, it kind of is. But I reread this, I think, last week. And I was quickly reminded that, oh shit, the actual Days of Future Past story, not that long at all, and like the rest of the book is really just sequels to that, Days of Future Present and whatnot, and fallouts and spinoffs, what happened else in that universe, things of that nature. But rereading that original story by Chris Claremont. And then looking at the movie again, really kind of got me thinking about some things that the movie did in comparison to the comic books. And it was just interesting that way.
Yep. Yeah. What would you say is the biggest difference that bothered you? Probably, I mean, unless it is Mystique. Because that would be understandable. Because they literally were really trying to hang this franchise on her still at this point.
They were. While I pontificate on that, because that is a good question, I will say this. It is interesting to note Mystique is in the story Days of Future Past, but she's one of the people that's about to bring about the bad ending.
Right. Well, and she is in this to an extent. I mean,
that's true. Yeah.
She's the original bringer of said bad ending.
Yeah. And so like they did skew kind of towards, well, we want to pay homage to her villainous arc in the original story, but we also want to have her make this turn. But I think the thing that maybe bothered me the most was I fucking love Wolverine. He's my favorite X-Man, but man, the Kitty Pryde slander.
Oh,
I can't even call it slander, but I mean, if we're looking at it like this is a Kitty Pryde story, if we're looking at like a true protagonist, and in the movie, I get it, Wolverine is like the moneymaker, but they sidelined Kitty and put Wolverine in that place, and I'm like, you still could have very easily had Wolverine in the movie, but had Kitty be the one to go back in time, like I don't think that's a difficult thing to do. And maybe the second thing, yes, would be the Mystique stuff. But then the third thing that bothers me on a much more whimsical level is we never got to see this. We never got to see Wolverine get obliterated by a Sentinel.
I gotta say that we did not get that. I gotta say that at the time, so you gotta think of, like, they always kind of had Kitty Pryde as a background character, right? I mean, she got the one moment with the Juggernaut, which, by the way, on this very podcast the other day, you talked about how you couldn't imagine them doing a better Juggernaut than they did in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Well, fuck you, because that Juggernaut never says, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. So, yes, they could do a better one. You just got to get that exact Juggernaut and have him say the very simple phrase, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That's it.
Oh, okay.
It's an integral part of the character.
Okay. All right, you know what? Fine. Fine.
But, I mean, I don't think that they considered Elliot Page to be a star. You know, I don't think that... It's interesting, too, because his, like, obviously with Umbrella Academy, which we're going to be reviewing soon, by the way.
Yes.
His stardom, like, he's what drew a lot of people to watch that, because pretty much everybody else in that is unknown as fuck at the time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
no, let's remember Dickon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you Game of Thrones fans out there.
Was that before Umbrella Academy started?
It was before. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But yeah, I can definitely see why, you know, they wanted their star in there. It was like, oh yeah, well, we'll have the entire original cast back here in the future,
right,
guarding the base, but not you. Wolverine's got to go into the past, and like, I don't hate it. I mean,
me either.
We get a lot of cool shit because it's him. You know, there's a lot of things that happen because it's him that went really well.
Yeah. It was a cool spin on it. But I do think it would have also been really fun to see Kitty go back in time and then maybe try to, like, recruit people for this cause. You know, it would have been fun to see her try to get Wolverine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, there's but what we got, I still think is a tremendous movie.
Yeah, I think that all of the characters that I loved from First Class, I think I like them more here. I will say this. I never really loved Nicholas Hoult as Beast. Mm-hmm. I think this is the best movie he gets. But for so much of it, he's just kind of Xavier's sidekick, nanny, whatever.
Yeah. Not a bad influence, but what do you call it? Enabler. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, the only kind of brilliance that he really has is coming up with, like, plot device serum. Mm-hmm. So,
basically, yeah. I call this MacGuffin juice. Yeah.
You know, I would have very much liked for them to, you know, Logan gets there and, like, he's in the garage building the jet or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't really use his brilliance that often.
Which is a mistake they really make with Beast in, like, none of these movies understand how to handle Beast.
Yeah, like the always having like that hue of optimism about him, and mixed in with the brilliance, and, you know, just like
and he's very well read.
He's very well read. Yeah, you know, he'll quote some wild shit at you, and while hanging upside down, while measuring chemicals. You know what I mean? Like, they never really got that with this version of Beast. I mean, honestly, hell, like, the closest thing might have been the post-credit scene in the Marvels.
I was literally just sitting here coming to that realization, like, the most accurate Beast we've gotten is in the fucking Marvels post-credit scene. Because he actually has a lab.
He's got a lab, yeah.
He never had a lab in any of the other movies. This motherfucker's in, like... Also, they actually just left the motherfucker out of First Class, or not First Class, but out of X1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Then they got him right in X3, but he's the only thing they got right. They used all their get right on him.
You're right. Also, a fun factoid here, and also it leads to another question. Another complaint about First Class. They had both Mystique and Azazel in that movie. Never made a reference about Nightcrawler at all. Like, those are Nightcrawler's parents. And they're like, I mean, they couldn't even, like, wink at each other. Nothing, you know? Couldn't.
I will say that I enjoy these movies, Nightcrawler, a good bit. Unfortunately, the movies that this Nightcrawler, that like the new Nightcrawler is in, are both horrible.
They are.
He might be the only good thing in Apocalypse other than the Magneto stuff.
I don't know why, man, but this Nightcrawler never really resonated with me.
Well, they didn't really give him a whole lot.
They didn't give him a whole lot at all, yeah. And, man, like, there's no nice way to say this, but he just looked like a dork. Like,
he did. I got to say that everybody has it doubly hard now, right? Because now you're going to be compared to 97. And honestly, if we had gotten, what's his fucking name? Gambit.
Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum, yeah. If we had gotten that Gambit like 2 years ago, people probably would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, you know. And some people still are, and they're wrong. But compared to the one in 97, I'm just like, this is not my, not my Gambit. Get the fuck out of here.
He was so happy to be Gambit.
He was. I understand.
Let him have this.
I'm happy for Channing Tatum. I don't give a fuck about that Gambit. And I never want to hear him try to do that accent ever again.
Oh, come on. Okay. Well, okay. You know, we'll circle back around to that, you know, because he might get that movie still.
As of right now, the best live-action Gambit is in Origins. And he doesn't even do the accent.
He doesn't even do the accent. Yeah, Taylor Kitsch, he just like kind of a catch-all Southern gentleman accent.
I'll take it. Yeah, bring him back.
And she wasn't bad. I didn't think he was, you know.
No, I mean, if you're going to complain about something in that movie, he's not in the top 50.
Oh, yeah, no. No.
I guess we should talk about the road cut a little bit for those who aren't aware that there's an extra cut of this movie.
Right.
As you may know, if you've seen Days of Future Past, Anna Paquin is not in it as Rogue.
Or as anything.
However, as anything. However, she filmed extensive scenes, which they later repackaged into about 15 minutes longer.
15-ish.
A sort of director's cut of the movie, and since she was by far the most prominent character from the original trilogy to not be featured here, that they called it the road cut. And I think it was pretty well. It sold pretty well. Mm-hmm. It was a big deal when it came out, and I think it's the better cut of the movie personally.
Yeah, I like both cuts, and what I mean by that is like I think for a theatrical experience, maybe the theatrical version fits better for a pace, but like sitting at home and watching, I would always watch the road cut.
For me, it's same. For me, it's always about the scene where they actually go into the mansion. Yeah. And you actually get both Magnetos. Yeah. And they cut back and forth in between the two Magnetos. I fucking love that. The kind of juxtaposition there where, you have the older Magneto busting into the X-Mansion to save Rogue. Yes. And then you have the younger Magneto breaking into wherever the fuck they have all his stuff. Right. To get the helmet. Yeah. And they have that moment where it cuts in between the two. And you lose that. Mm-hmm. Like that Magneto scene where he breaks in there is really, iconic anyway. Right. But the juxtaposition of the two is really good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about this opening scene in Days of Future Past, because that's always been... Hell, it still might be my favorite scene in the whole movie. I really dig seeing the systematic destruction of the X-Men, Yeah.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Oh, yeah. When they got, Is it Bishop that they just melt? No, he's on the table.
Yeah, no, they melt.
Sunspot?
It might have been.
I know they get Bobby too.
He's one of the last to go down.
Yeah. I will give him this.
Yeah.
The Sentinels in this movie are far more fucking terrifying than any other version of the Sentinels.
Yeah. And you know what? The Sentinels in this movie, they get a lot of shit because neither version look like Sentinels, you know?
Yeah, we'll talk about the fucking
The
Toy
giant
Story
fans.
the goddamn Toy Story Sentinels.
But like even though like none of them really look like Sentinels, they had that ferocity about them.
Right.
And like, you know, even you know in the comic book, like the Sentinels, they had by that point that had been upgraded to be able to like detect like all mutant presence.
Right.
And they also knew mutant abilities. Like for example, Storm hits one with like a giant fucking bolt of lightning, but it barely does any damage because now they're all insulated to protect them against her.
Right.
You know. And so there's all kinds of things like that these new upgraded Sentinels can do. They can obliterate Wolverine, you know?
Yeah.
And so like they have that type of capability now, and they're just in such dire straits. And the movie did a great job of just really showing how desperate their situation was, you know?
They did. And I mean, just this cold, faceless killer, I mean, that they couldn't do anything about. And anything that you did do to them, they would just adapt to it like the fucking Borg from Star Trek, you know?
Right.
It was incredible, like, to see the way that they would change and adapt, and they were just perfect at doing what they did.
Yeah. And, you know, so in the comics, one reason why it was such a big deal, obviously, for them to stop this from happening was because not only would it be the destruction for mutant kind, but the Sentinels weren't going to stop there. It was going to go on, and they're going to control all of humanity, basically.
Yeah.
You know, the only way to make sure that the mutant presence stays in check is if we control everything.
Everything, yeah.
You know? And so like that, it was like a caste system in this future. By the way, their future, do you know what year it was when the story takes place?
Isn't it like 2077 or something like that?
2013.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's the future.
Right.
Wait, isn't... But... Well, yeah, I mean, that would have been like around the time that the movie came out, so that makes sense.
Well, I mean, like the comic book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the movie came out in
2014.
Yeah, had they came out a year earlier, it would have been...
Like right on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
right
yeah. And you meant in the comic book.
Yeah.
I was like, huh. But yeah, I guess it couldn't have been that far anyway, because like Magneto would have been like 150.
Oh yeah, it's funny because he's still alive, like in the 2013 future in the comics.
Yeah,
and like God damn, boy, you old as shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just a few, as of a few weeks ago, both of our presidential candidates were from the 40s.
Oh yeah,
so
that's true. Fuck, it's not so far fetched after all.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And we're at 2024.
Right?
Yeah.
Shit. Magneto for president? Not really. That'd be terrifying.
I mean, Magneto, Kelsier, 2028.
Oh shit! Yeah. Yeah, we fucked 2032.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're not mutants.
That's true,
but we aren't nobility either.
Yeah,
so we should be kind of okay.
Yeah,
it depends on who's president, who's vice president.
Right.
Also, we would think the mutants are cool, so.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. So like, I always go back to X-Men 1. When Senator Robert Kelly is given, that empowered speech, it's like if you had never heard of a mutant, right, never read a comic book, and you were sitting there, in that hearing that he's having with Jean Grey, I'd be like, this motherfucker's spitting. He says some shit about that there's mutants that can read minds, or there's a mutant that can walk through walls, so stopping them from walking right into your home, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're fear-mongering like crazy, but you're not wrong either.
Right, yeah.
And that's always been the interesting thing about like the mutant ideology is that they deserve rights like everyone else, but also how do you have checks and balances with a group of people that have powers like that?
Right. Yeah, I mean, especially all the Omega levels, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Magneto could pick up a fucking baseball stadium and just chuck it across the state, you know?
Yeah, as he kind of does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we didn't make it very clear, then we are going full tilt spoilers for this old ass movie. So.
Full spoilers for this 10-year-old movie.
Yeah.
All right.
And pretty much everything else in the X-Men timeline. So,
yeah. Man, I can't wait till 2029 to discuss your favorite X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix.
We're not doing that. I didn't want to talk about it the first time. I don't think I was here. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't.
No, me and Kevin had to grumpily discuss that.
You know, the first time I watched that movie, I went to see it by myself. I was when I lived in Atlanta. I couldn't get anybody to go watch it with me.
I believe it.
I went to go see it by myself, and it was in the summer, and the AC was broken at theater. So I sat there like just sweating balls watching this terrible ass movie.
And you sat there for the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I wasn't about to go watch it again.
That's true.
So,
ooh.
You know, when I, before Deadpool and Wolverine, I actually rewatched all of it, the whole timeline, all the way through. And I never made it to New Mutants or Dark Phoenix. Like, I said I was going to fucking watch them, and I never did.
I would definitely watch New Mutants way before I watched Dark Phoenix.
Oh, same, yeah. But I didn't watch either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Magic is in that.
Yeah, yeah, she is.
Yeah.
I am a mark for the New Mutants, and I mean, Magic was definitely the best cast. But I didn't think any of them were bad.
The dude from Stranger Things.
You didn't
was
like
terrible.
him?
No, yeah.
That's Cannonball.
They're trying to do that country accent.
I knew you were going to bring up the accent. Yeah.
His accent was awful.
It was. Yeah. But at least he tried. You know, I appreciate the effort. You know?
Yeah.
Sam Guthrie is supposed to be a real country bumpkin type of character. And anyway, back to Days of Future Past here. They made sure in this opening scene to give everybody something cool.
They did.
You know,
what's the chick that can teleport? I know I sound like a fucking
Blink.
noob here. So
she was great.
The way that Blink got killed was amazing.
The way that she used her powers as an offensive measure was great.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about this movie, man. Is like there is no movie with mutants in it other than maybe Deadpool and Wolverine that goes as so hard with the rule of cool as this movie. Everybody that's in it just about gets a moment.
Yeah.
And there's so many cool things that they do with the powers, the way Blink uses their powers here. I mean, Iceman. Iceman comes surfing out on the fucking wave of ice, just like on fucking Ultimate Alliance.
Yes.
You know? And it was just like, where was this before? He never did this shit. You know, Bishop's use of powers. Storm has her best display of power in any of the live action shit in this movie at the end.
I love what she says. Do you know what happens when the Sentinel gets struck by lightning?
No, she doesn't say that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I must watch a different version.
Yeah, okay. Maybe there's a third cut. You know,
it's
the
storm
storm
cut.
cut. Magneto in this movie.
Yes.
Just off the fucking rails. I mean, this movie, this is a Magneto movie. It's so good. Quicksilver.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, one of the most iconic scenes.
Yes.
You know.
Like you still see this like just scrolling on your feed every once in a while, this Quicksilver scene.
Yeah. To the point where like they try to chop it in the next one.
Yeah.
And it's not bad.
It isn't. But
you can tell that somebody sat down and went, oh, okay, well, we got to put in another Quicksilver.
Right.
You know.
They were trying to chase the moment.
They were, yeah. And I don't blame them, but it's very stupid in Apocalypse.
Yeah. I mean, it was all rule of cool in Apocalypse, you know.
Yeah. Whereas here, it like made sense to the plot and the story and everything.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Peter Dinklage as Bolivar Trask?
I was going to ask you that actually. I really liked his Trask here in this movie, because like the way he plays it, he doesn't play it as like a fear mongering Robert Kelly type of guy.
Right.
Or even like a Henry Gyrich type of guy. He plays this as a very matter of fact kind of guy, like, well, this is what needs to happen. I actually really like the mutants.
Yeah, he says he admires them.
Yeah. But like this is just something that he feels that that needs to be done.
Yeah, he doesn't come across as this, bigoted,
Right.
Over the top kind of, character that you can spot a mile away.
Right.
He's very, very to the point. Like, hey, listen, this is what happened to the Neanderthals when the Homo sapiens came in. The mutants are the new Homo sapiens, and we're the old Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen. I built these robots that'll kill them all. But give me the money.
Yeah. Yeah, give me the money. I'll make it happen. Yeah.
And honestly, it's more terrifying that way.
Yeah. Because, there's practically a complete detachment,
Yeah.
Like, this is all business.
Yeah. Your extermination is just business.
Yeah. And, it's terrifying, but it's definitely something that you can see them having an easier time doing from a morality standpoint, because in the 70s, there weren't that many known mutants around.
Right.
In this continuity, But as we know, there would be much, much more, or many, many more mutants in just the years coming. So I want to ask you this, right? And this is kind of a discussion that I like to have with people concerning the X-Men and mutants in general. Why is it you think that the mutants get such a bad rep, but then you have people like Spider-Man or the Fantastic Four or, people in that class who don't receive the same kind of backlash?
Well, that's because they were all born as humans.
But the public doesn't know that.
They know about some of them, right?
Yeah. So they would know that about
Spider-Man,
the Fantastic Four.
And probably the Fantastic Four as well.
Because they're public, but Peter tries to keep his,
Captain America.
Clearly. Yeah, Captain America. They know that about Cap.
Iron Man is just a dude in a suit,
right?
Right. Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it, right? Is it's these, a lot of them were born as a regular human, and then something happened to them, and I think we see a lot of parallels to that in our day-to-day lives, right? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, that the mutants do kind of have this kind of stigma about them, but what makes them ripe for that level of storytelling is the fact that they're born with these powers that are a detriment in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Look at Stryker's kid, who they mentioned in this movie. They had a little Jason Easter egg in there.
Yeah.
Although that timeline also doesn't track either.
Not at all. Not at all.
Because he's this is in the 70s, and he's saying his kid's 10.
Yeah, but I'm like, well, wait a minute.
X2 came out 2003.
Yeah.
So then Jason was 40 something in that movie.
How old did that guy look in X2 though?
He looked like he might have been maybe 20s. I don't know, but he looked like he'd been through some shit. So
and he had.
Yeah. There's no telling what the fuck Stryker did to him.
Right.
But yeah, I think that aspect of it, right, is it's hard to be like, oh, we hate spider people,
Yeah.
Or, and there are people that hate the Avengers, you know what I mean, or superheroes in general. Look at Civil War.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that you can so easily point to mutants as this is a sector of people that's bad, you know what I mean? It's just how if you turn on far right media, they're not talking about people that cross the Canadian border. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that'd be a much harder thing for them to just lump everybody in as an immigrant or whatever into
right.
But no, they can show brown people come across the southern border and be like, oh, these are the bad immigrants, you know? It's just the thing about propaganda, right, is the purpose of it is to make you forget that other people are human.
Yeah.
And that's the X-Men, that's what it is.
That's them to a T.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Agreed. So that being said, if I was, alive in the Marvel Universe, just definitely have me be a normal human and then get hit with some fucking cosmic shit. All right.
Right, yeah.
Versus being born with cosmic shit. That there is a difference to the humans living there. It's fucked up.
Well, it's also, too, like, it's hard to be like, look, you have all these problems in your life because superheroes. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can say mutants.
You're right. You can say, yeah. I mean, the music can definitely take your job. They took my job.
Yeah.
You get someone like Colossus, who needs a construction crew,
Right, yeah.
You get Nightcrawler, shit, he's putting DoorDash out of business.
Yeah.
And then, that's the thing, like just a matter of creativity, But I've always really just loved that kind of discussion, the ideology about like the mutants versus the other superpowered people in that community. It's to the point where they do bring it up in the Civil War comics, about it's a crazy change because for once, like the Avengers are kind of asking, for the X-Men's assistance, and they're like, oh, now you want our help.
Oh, do the humans hate you? Huh? First time?
Oh yeah,
that must be awful.
And what made it worse was that like Tony goes to go visit the X-Mansion to try to convey the message to them to you should be on our team, but. I think Cyclops was out, but Emma was there, and so she was like the acting head, and so he had to contend with Emma, who was just giving him shit.
Oh yeah,
and it was fantastic. But
were they there? You said it was fantastic. Anyway,
God, fucking hell.
Oh, so with the setup for this, we get the whole thing where the Sentinels come in and Kitty and Bishop teleport. Or, they don't teleport, but they just disappear. Yeah. The whole thing disappears. And then that's where we got our lineup. After that, we got the cool James Gunn slow walk intro.
Right.
One thing that I really thought was awesome is, like, that Cerebro is, like, built into the jet now. Like, that Xavier has the special chair, and he just kind of like forms it in front of him, which is fucking crazy, right? But he's like, I found him, and then and the jet also has some kind of crazy future reactor or whatever the fuck in it. They come there, they land, we get all our characters that we just saw get killed in the intro, and if you don't know what's going on, you're like, what?
Yeah, like, what the fuck is it like? What are they doing?
Yeah, didn't they all just get killed? Okay.
Right.
And, we see getting off the jet, which they had to be packed in that jet.
Bro, they was deep in there.
Yeah. We see Xavier, Storm, Wolverine. I know Magneto, but he gets off last.
Yeah, he's the last one to come out. Was it Iceman?
No, Iceman was already there.
Oh yeah, he was already there.
So I guess that's it.
I thought they were deeper than that, though.
Wolverine, Xavier, Storm, Magneto.
I guess so. But shit. No, but still, like, at this moment in the movie, like, when I first saw this in theater, right? Because I saw it with homie Kevin. And I was like, I don't know how we got here, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Like, so I was super curious to see like how this shit was gonna play out and how it was gonna go down, and this was the first time really that I had thought about the Kitty Pryde conundrum, because I was like, I know that Wolverine is gonna be in it, but what are we gonna do about Kitty? And then we see, when they do the whole deal of sending Wolverine back in time, they put Kitty in the telepath position of of helping send Logan's conscience back in time, and they do give a good reason for it, right? Like because his mind had been so fucked up, and because of like his healing factor and all that, his mind can handle that kind of trauma.
Right.
And in the I forgot what I was about to say, but anyway, yeah, they do send Wolverine's conscience successfully back in time. What was the exact year? It was
1973.
73. Yeah. And I love Wolverine's clothes.
Yeah. I love his clothes. That iconic shot, man, of them shooting him and him, the bullets popping back out. The imagery there is just tremendous.
I love when he pops his claws and like, the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, because nobody's thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, including me. When I saw that happen the first time, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the metal on.
Right.
You could tell that this script was handled with love for this franchise.
Yeah.
There's so many little things throughout it, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
And I also love the dude's got the rabbit foot on the keys or whatever. Yeah.
So we already talked a little bit about like the and I know we're kind of fast tracking, going all over the place here, but we talked a little bit about the breakout, right? So when they do get Magneto, like, it's kind of a whole big fucking deal.
Yeah,
because
they spend a lot of the movie getting Magneto.
Yeah. Well, he's been because at this point, like in this continuity, he's accused of killing JFK.
Yeah, yeah,
and but he says that he was trying to save JFK.
Magneto always ends up in a special prison in the second movie. Every time. Every time.
Yeah. You gotta do something with them.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing with Quicksilver, right, was amazing. Them going to get him. We get the brief Scarlet Witch cameo.
Yeah, the baby witch, what I call her.
Yeah. They even hint at Magneto being their dad.
Right. Yeah. And I love how Magneto is like, what the fuck you talking about?
Yeah.
He just no-sells it completely.
Yeah. Fassbender kills it, man. Always.
He does. Yeah, every time. Another one of my favorite scenes is after they get Magneto out of the prison and they're on the plane, and this Beast flying the plane. We got Wolverine in there as well as Magneto and Charles, and they have this big blow up at each other. I've always really dug that scene. What you think about that?
I love it. That scene on the plane.
Yeah.
It's all of them being themselves, right? You have Xavier who's on his high horse and is like, you took Raven from me, blah 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 blah, and he's on and on about that, like, how dare you do this to me? And then Magneto is just like, motherfucker, I've been in a prison. You've been sitting at your fucking house.
Yeah.
With no powers.
Yeah.
And I love where he finds out about the serum or whatever, and he's like, you gave up your powers so you could walk?
Yeah.
And now they're like, you or I, that doesn't sound that crazy. Yeah. But to Magneto, it would be like if I told you that, like, I gave up my eyesight so I didn't sneeze as often. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way he responds to it. Because you can tell, like, to him, that's really what it is. He's just like, it's
such a small thing that you're sacrificing in for the greater good.
Yeah.
But in Charles' defense, motherfucker, you're the reason I can't walk.
Yeah. You're the reason I can't walk, dog. And like him fucking up the plane and shit, and how like Wolverine's never not bothered by it at all. Logan is like just watching this shit happen because he's gonna be fine. Like, it's not gonna be comfortable, right? He'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah. I don't know what happens in his future if this plane goes down. It seems bad.
Right.
It seems like it would be way worse.
Yeah.
But and of course we have Beast here. That's just got nothing to do with Beast really. He's just some guy. But I love this exchange, and my favorite part of the whole thing is the bit when it's over with, and Logan's just like, "You gonna pick all that shit up?"
Right.
Because the exchange between Logan and Magneto here is so good. They even reference it back to it at the end of the movie.
Oh, they do, yeah.
Yeah, when he winds the rebar all through him, he's just like, well, so much for being a survivor. And he
tosses him.
And like, little did he know, he survived that shit.
He survived that shit. And that's the crazy thing is like, you know, everyone knows if you want to kill a Wolverine, just fucking drown him, you know?
Dude, I gotta be honest, like, that's a terrible way to go out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just having the rebar wove through your body is bad enough. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And he didn't even, like, sharpen that shit.
No, just dull rebar.
Yeah. Not that it would have been much better.
Right.
But, like, you know, not only did he do all that shit to you, but then he tossed you in the water for you to drown over and over and over again.
Right. Yeah, and like, yeah, so that's always been, like, the worst kind of... And, like, and the crazy thing is, like, for Wolverine, pre-adamantium, drowning isn't really a big deal because you can just swim out. But once they add like 150 pounds of adamantium to your skeleton, all of a sudden drowning becomes a much bigger deal.
Yeah. And you know, at this point, he didn't have the adamantium yet, but Magneto just added his own.
Yeah, he's like, you know, I got something for that. Yeah. Yeah, this rebar will take good care of you. Yeah, but it is amazing how he survived that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dug that scene. I don't dig it as much as him getting obliterated by a Sentinel. You know?
Oh yeah.
But I'll take what I can get. But also though, those 70 Sentinels, I don't see them obliterating Wolverine. You know,
no.
They were those designs. All right.
Well, they were supposed to be like the beta test Sentinels.
They were.
They weren't even that big.
No, they weren't.
They were insanely susceptible to mutant abilities.
It's the one design flaw. Yeah. You know, so like the guy that works directly under fucking Ball of Trash is like, I got the design complete, but there's just one thing. It's you know how like the Death Star Wars wasn't even out yet. Fuck, so you can't even use this as an example.
Yeah.
It was like, well, you know, it's like there's just one little design flaw is all, and it's like well, what is it? It's probably never gonna even come up.
Yeah, it won't come up.
But the Sentinels, they're practically impervious to everything except for mutant abilities. Like, I'm sorry, what?
Come again?
Yeah, you know.
And yeah, I mean this whole like segment right on the plane where they're is this where they're headed back to the mansion? No.
What, you talking about after the blow up?
Yeah.
They were headed to...
They're headed to the Accords or whatever it is.
Yeah, to the hearing.
The hearing. Where Mystique kills Trask originally.
Yeah.
And man, I love this scene too when they bust in here. I've always kind of thought that if there's a low point to this movie or a drag point, it's kind of this extended sequence where we see Mystique, like how she took over the Vietnamese commander guy.
Yeah. I mean, that did drag a little bit, but they figured they had to give her something.
Well, they also probably, you know, they had to have a little time to come down from the awesome... Like, because we literally had just been going balls to the wall for 15 minutes. Yeah,
and, you know, you can almost argue more than that, right? Because there is a little bit of a come down when Wolverine gets sent back in time.
The exposition station.
Yep, the exposition station.
But as soon as he does, it's like nonstop. You know? Well, they have a little bit of him trying to convince Xavier. Mm-hmm. What'd you think about the kind of depressed Xavier here and like the kind of mirror image of like what we got in X1 where Wolverine is kind of having to guide Xavier?
I thought that was excellent, you know, because for one thing, it's really important that we see the other side of Xavier. Like this is a younger Xavier, one whose ideals aren't as solid, you know, and he had some shit that he needed to work through. Yeah, he had a lot of shit he needed to work through, and it was just cool to see the other side of Xavier. You know,
I do love the exchange with Logan and Beast when he first gets there.
Well, I like I like how he tells Logan, "Fuck off."
Yeah,
You know.
well, that's the Xavier that does that.
Yeah, Xavier says that to Logan. Yeah.
But between Logan and Hank, when he gets there and he's just like, "Oh, you a late bloomer, are you?" You know, because he's got the serum or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I think Logan ends up knocking him out or whatever. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna be great friends or whatever someday. Just don't worry about it. And then he like hulks out and starts beating his ass.
Yeah. That part is cool.
It's like that part, and when he fights Magneto is like the only cool moments he really has.
Yeah, it's crazy how these movies just never had a lot for Beast. Here's to hoping Nicholas Hoult gets more cool stuff to do as Lex Luthor.
Oh my god, I really hope so.
Yeah,
I love where he fights Magneto though, because they're in this movie because like they're just in that fountain. And like, if he just stayed away from them little metal things, like he could have killed Magneto here.
He could have,
because in just a fight with no metal around, Beast is a whoop his ass.
Right. Oh yeah, because like, what's he gonna do?
Right? Yeah.
Like, especially like if there's like no distance between the two of you.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like no metal that you can readily find. You know what I mean?
I love when he's drowning him in the fountain, like all the cars and shit on the street just start to pull in.
They did so many cool effects like that. So many like cool little touches.
Yeah.
That just really accentuated it.
So we talked about they going into the hearing. I love so much this moment that's very easily missable when, you know, Raven has already done her thing and she's already done the, I'm actually a blue person, and then she's kicking people. And then they bust in and she's like, you guys are here together? That's weird. And then she like looks at Eric and she's like, this motherfucker's about to kill me. And it was kind of dumb, right? Because like, all right, you knew Eric from jump was like, we got to go here and kill her then. Sorry, you know. But it's like, so you going to spill her blood everywhere? Like, they get her DNA. They don't need her alive.
I know. Yeah, they don't need her. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you got an incinerator on you, you know, that you just have.
Right.
But I love Beast tackles him and he drops the gun, but then he still pulls the trigger on the gun. Yeah. And then controls the bullet. Right. Like that whole scene, like that is amazing. You know, the way they shot it.
And that scene, right? Because like when people think about like him being an Omega level mutant, they look at him moving the baseball stadium or him moving the Golden Gate Bridge or like shifting the Earth's axis, and all those are Omega level type deals. But controlling a moving bullet, that is also an Omega level type deal. Yeah, you know, because like your control over that has just got to be insane.
Yeah,
you know.
And he tracked her out the window. Right. And I'll tell you, the hardest scene in this movie to watch, man, is when she's on the pavement and he's like dragging him.
Yeah, by the bullet.
By the bullet, man. You know that shit's got to be horrendous.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Like, first of all, like, fuck getting shot, but then your full body weight is being dragged by the bullet inside your leg.
That's got to feel like shit.
Yeah, it's got to be absolutely terrible.
You're like, you know, there's a better way, dog. You can literally just hold me here. You don't have to drag me.
You don't have to drag me. Or you could have shot me in the head.
Yeah, that.
Like, if it's gonna come down to, if I knew we were gonna do this, just shoot me in the head.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this shit sucks.
And then, you know, he gets her blood everywhere, and of course they come out there and scrape that shit up. But I love this scene too, where Mystique comes out and lands on the pavement, and like there's the big reaction from the crowd.
Yeah, to seeing the blue lady.
Yeah, and then this motherfucker comes flying out the window trying to kill her. Yeah, you're like, what is happening right now?
What is reality at this very moment?
And then another blue motherfucker comes out and starts fighting that guy.
Right. Yeah. So if you're a civilian at this point, you're thinking, I don't know. What the fuck is happening?
At least with the Avengers, it was usually pretty easy to tell who the bad guy was.
Yeah. In this scenario, you're like,
who's going to show up next?
Right. You know, it's the 70s, so the bigotry will probably kick in. I'm rooting for the normal looking dude.
Yeah, right. You know? Yeah. Tall, white, blue eyes. Yeah. This is also where we start to get the deviations between the two versions of the movie. So,
Oh yeah, between the Rogue and the theatrical.
Logan sees Stryker and freaks out in both versions, and in both versions, Kitty kind of starts to lose him because of all the trauma and everything, and we actually get these clips of the modern day Stryker and like him coming out of the tank with the adamantium, all those really iconic shots. But where the difference is in the road cut, he actually starts wildly swinging his claws,
and he cuts
the shit out of Kitty Pryde.
So I forgot that wasn't in theatrical cut, huh?
No, he doesn't cut her in the theatrical.
Yeah, see, I've only seen the theatrical cut like twice.
Yeah, and of course, Magneto stops this bullshit. He's just like restrains him
Right.
because he's got the metal. But the damage is already done.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the road cut, in the theatrical version, he doesn't cut her.
Yeah, see, I forgot that scene was only specific to the road cut.
Yeah, because that sets up.
Yeah, that sets up them. Yeah,
the road swap later.
Yeah. Man, so let's go ahead and talk about that, right? The old swaparoo that they pull off here.
Yeah.
I thought this was a cool touch, and first of all, I also love just seeing Bobby and Rogue kind of reunite on screen again.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked, right? Because like Rogue was like always jealous of them,
Yeah.
and then he goes and rescues her so she can come back there and take her powers.
You're right.
And I actually thought that she killed her the first time that I watched it. But you get a shot of her later.
Yeah, she's still alive, thankfully. That would
have been so fun.
Yeah.
I'm here to save you.
Yeah. But not all of you. Yeah. No, I thought this was an interesting touch, right? Because, like, obviously they need someone there to kind of keep Logan stable while he does the deal,
right,
in the past, and having Rogue come in and take Kitty's powers temporarily so she can do the whole conscious control thing was a pretty cool deal. And I've always said this, man. Like I really dig the Rogue cut, but maybe I'm just being greedy, but I still wish there was more. You know what I mean?
Right.
But again, that does kind of go back to kind of all of the X-Men, really.
Yeah. Well, this also, you have to remember, this is like the early days of a superhero ensemble, right? Like the X-Men were really the only ones to ever pull it off, just to the extent that they did it, until Avengers.
Yeah.
And this movie was already in the process of being made when that came out. And it probably, you could probably thank the Avengers for why this is the best put together, because they probably looked at that movie and went, "Oh, okay, that's how we do it. We need to do this. We need to give everybody a little piece of something." And unfortunately, in the ensemble, that's the best case scenario, is that everybody gets a little arc.
Yeah.
And nobody gets a big one, really. Mm-hmm. And that's just how the ensemble film works, and in this one, they had two casts. They had the old cast and the new cast.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, man, like, I can see a reality where they have a bit of foresight when making this movie, and they make it 2 movies.
Yeah.
Like, I can definitely see that happening.
So where does the part 1 end?
Yeah, I would actually stretch out the beginning arc, right?
Yeah.
The beginning moments where we're in the future and we see them fighting for their lives. I would actually stretch that out more so we can get more information and more time with those characters, right? And I would actually end it after the Magneto breakout.
Where they get him out of the prison?
Yeah.
So if it were me, if I'm going to end the first movie, I'm going to do it in one of 2 places. Mm-hmm. I'm either going to do it, they get to the summit or whatever,
right?
And that's the big final act, is they confront Mystique, and I would end it with Trask being like, "Yeah, we were able to get some of her DNA or whatever," and like that's how you go to black.
Yeah, that's a cool moment.
Either that, or I would actually have the swap be the end of the first one, and like you have the whole scene at the summit plays out poorly. You cut back to them, and you got Kitty, and like you end the movie being like her being like, I can't hold him. Mm-hmm. Fade to black. You know?
Yeah.
And like I think both of those would have been like, oh my god, like we have to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Yeah, I like ending it at the Magneto breakout because that leaves them like a oh shit type moment, you know?
Yeah.
Because now you're like, fuck, we got Magneto now.
Yeah.
I was actually pleasantly surprised that this movie doesn't end with a Wolverine stabs a thing, saves the day type scenario, you know?
Right.
I mean, he tries, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, Wolverine actually gets super fucked in the third act.
Yeah. It's like whatever training he had, you know, and like the Weapons X program, you know, he probably should have used some of that stealth, you know?
You know, the thing I really love about this movie, too, is they brought the original cast in, and you can completely see how the thing that would have been safe would have been to really focus on them, but they didn't. They used the cast in the way that I wish motherfucking Disney would have done it in the Star Wars sequels, and they never shit on the old characters.
Right.
They do look at the old characters, under a microscope and say, you know, we did this and we allowed this to happen, and now we're trying to fix it. So they're not perfect.
Yeah.
But they also don't ever like degrade or shit on those characters that we know and love. They actually use those characters that we know and love to boost the new cast of characters.
Right.
And therefore, coming out of this movie, I think everybody was very excited to see what this cast was going to do next.
Yeah.
And if there's any fucking reason we kept watching the other movies that came after this, it's for them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because we definitely didn't give a shit about anything else that was going on.
No. This Days of Future Past is such an odd highlight in this phase of X-Men movies.
Yeah.
You know, because like First Class, like I'm cool on it, you know. I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of a mid movie to me. But the one after Days of Future Past, which is Apocalypse, I thought that was super mid.
Yeah. and then I wish we could have got a mid movie. Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
So if we just had to throw Dark Phoenix in our MCU ranking.
Oh my gosh.
Where do you think it would land? Like what number? Because in case people haven't seen it, we don't want to spoil it, but we can maybe tell them what's right around there.
It would go.
It's definitely after 40 to me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I gotta be honest. What was Iron Fist? 49?
Yeah. Iron Fist ended up. Where's my goddamn? Yeah, Iron Fist was low as fuck.
Yeah, I think Iron Fist ended up 49. I have the picture of the actual list somewhere. It's out in the car, but I ain't going out there.
Yeah, I think Iron Fist is 49.
Yeah, I would put it right after Iron Fist, I think.
So 48 or 50?
50.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of a hell do you have to be in?
Iron Fist was 48.
48, okay.
So, yeah, I actually take that back. I'm going to put it after Iron Man 3, but before She-Hulk. Yeah, so like 49,
so
50 actually.
Gotcha, man.
So I was right about the positioning,
Yeah.
just not where Iron Fist was at.
What kind of a hell do you have to be in, like when Satan asks you, all right, so you've been tortured enough. We got movie day and it's your pick. You get to choose between we can either watch some She-Hulk, watch some Iron Man 3, or some X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Is it bad that I'm watching Iron Man 3?
I never thought I'd hear you say those words.
Well, do I have to watch? Because like, there's so much She-Hulk.
That's
like if
true.
I got to sit through 8 hours of
She-Hulk.
Like if I can watch the Daredevil episode or the finale.
And no, those are excluded from the.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I can watch those, then I'll watch those before fucking Iron Man 3 any day.
Actually, I hate the finale.
But if I gotta watch the whole show, the Kevin Robot's funny to me. Like that shit's hilarious to me. I know you were probably by that point. You probably were.
I was checked out.
You had the gun loaded. Yeah. It was in your mouth. I mean,
Jesus. Yeah. That's a special kind of hell.
Yeah.
Like it would be so low if we had to rank Dark Phoenix in with the MCU movies.
Yeah, it would be. It's a special kind of terrible.
Yeah, because like it's hard for me to think of like what that movie does good.
Yeah, I mean, at least Apocalypse had Dazzler, which I used to fool you in the questions game.
You did use that to fool me.
And then Taylor Swift wasn't even in the movie.
No.
Neither was the Dazzler.
Neither was Dazzler, yeah.
And they went on to reveal that they never had any intent of doing that, and they leaked it to the internet just to fuck with us. Which is even funnier to me.
It is. Was Dazzler in Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix? She was in Dark Phoenix, wasn't she?
No, I think Dazzler's in Apocalypse.
Okay.
Is it Dark Phoenix?
I thought it was Dark Phoenix.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
I've tried to forget Dark Phoenix.
I understand completely.
Because even Fassbender and McAvoy are terrible in that somehow.
There is a reason why I will watch Dark Phoenix. I get to see Mystique just get murked.
Yeah, that's the best part of that whole movie.
Yeah.
When she dies. That's it.
Yeah, like, hey.
That end scene on the train, there's a couple of cool Nightcrawler.
That is true. Yeah.
But
it's not worth the journey.
So Days of Future Past.
Oh yeah. We're back here again.
We were talking about splitting it in two movies, and then
that's right.
That derailed the shit out of us.
It did. That would have been a cool move though if they had done that, and it would have delayed the other bullshit we got. You know,
I like that. Yeah, right. We would just now be getting Dark Phoenix, and maybe Disney would have stopped it before it happened.
Yeah, maybe the acquisition would have happened. You know,
because I gotta be honest, man. If they buy Fox and Kevin Feige walks in and is like, "All right, let's see what we got." Oh, completely finished movie. Let's put this on, and then it's like 90 minutes later, and then you just see Kevin Feige like just eyes bulging out of his head, just like. Yeah, we're deleting this.
Yeah, so what you think, Mr. Feige? We really worked hard on this, and we know that you really appreciate, because we really copied a lot of you guys, really. As you can tell in this scene right here, we really wanted the characters to be impactful, and, we really wanted those big moments. So, this was really like an homage to your Avengers movies in a way.
I'm trying to figure out if you guys started handing cocaine out on the set or stopped.
Oh shit!
Because Fassbender seems to be tweaking.
Yeah. By that point, and I promise we're going to talk about Days of Future Past some more. But by that point in the franchise, I was tired of seeing Magneto semi-retired and then coming out of retirement to do the thing again.
The thing about that movie is. They actually did a whole Genosha thing.
Yeah.
But it was god awful and they were there for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just Magneto in a trash heap with a bunch of people, like a treehouse.
It was a treehouse.
Big ass treehouse.
Yeah, it was Magneto Fun Times in a treehouse. But yeah, if Marvel never wants to touch the Dark Phoenix again, that's cool with me.
The thing about it is, it's such an incredible story.
Yeah. But it's an incredible story that takes time.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna sideline us here. Why is it that you think that just nobody can get it right?
They want it now. That's what I think it is, and it takes time to tell that story. I mean, it's an incredible story, but so. Just kind of paint the picture for you guys here. I have an omnibus. It's called the Dark Phoenix Saga. And what that is it is a collection of individual comic books that together tell the story of the Dark Phoenix. And it's a whole omnibus. And it's separate from like the other Uncanny X-Men omnis, right? So like it is issues taken from those books compiled to make just one book telling this one grand story. And it really puts it into perspective that it would take a lot of work and a lot of time to tell this kind of story. Now, it can be done, but you're going to have to play the long game. It would take you a series of movies to really have this thing properly unfold.
And you can have it unfold as the B plot to other movies.
That part, yeah.
It doesn't have to be the A plot. Like, it could be fine as one movie's A plot.
Right.
But you have to build it through others.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with, you know, Dark Knight Returns, right? And Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Like, I can absolutely see why watching the animated movie or reading the comic as a movie creator, studio executive, you know, that fucking iconic line where Batman's just like, you know, all your most private moments.
I want you to know the one man who beat you. Yeah.
I can understand why you would want to get that. But do they realize? I mean, that is decades of interaction between these two characters.
Right.
That story is technically in its own continuity.
Yeah.
It's technically the first book in that continuity. But it doesn't matter because we as a society understand those characters and who they are.
Yeah.
And we love seeing them be on the same page.
Right.
But we also understand that at some point their moralities are going to intersect.
Yeah.
So that is the reason that despite all the issues with it, that Civil War worked. Because we all liked seeing Cap and Tony on the same page, but they had laid the groundwork in previous movies for, well, what happens when the day comes that like one of them can't budge on something. And in Civil War, we got to see that. And they did an excellent job with that in the first Avengers. Actually, really, the first two Avengers movies.
They disagree heavily there in both of those movies.
Yeah, they really went in on it in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Where everyone is kind of on Tony Stark in Age of Ultron.
Yeah. I mean, Thor rips that motherfucker up off the ground like he doesn't weigh anything.
Right, and I love that moment for Thor.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, when Tony says, use your words, big guy, and Thor goes, I have no more words for you, Stark.
Yeah.
Great moment for Thor.
Yeah, and then he disappears shortly after that.
Yeah.
And then never returned.
Never returned. But I mean, it would also be like, imagine like in Avengers 1, Thor gets swarmed by like a group of Chitauri, and like all the Avengers are like down and out for the count, and then you see Mjolnir levitate, and then it goes to Cap. It doesn't. It doesn't mean not even half as much to see that in Avengers 1. Matter of fact, you'd just be more confused seeing that in Avengers 1.
Well, if they had done it after, you know, they did a really good job with Mjolnir. Like, you got to think, that would at least be 2 movies if they had done that.
Right.
Like, because they established the lore behind Mjolnir very heavy in Thor 1.
Yeah.
And then again in the Hulk fight where Hulk just can't even begin to fucking lift it and he's so confused.
Yeah.
And angry. Like his confusion and his anger just both are skyrocketing. Because he's like, why can't I pick this up? Why the fuck can't I pick this up?
Yeah, and I should be able to lift this.
He just goes back and forth. And he's just angrier and angrier. And so, yeah, I mean, I think even if it would have happened at the end of Avengers 1, it still would have had a pretty nice impact compared to what they keep trying to do with Dark Phoenix. Now, not as much as it had in Endgame, you know. In Endgame, man, there was a lot of things where they had been edging us along for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm worried about, and that we are so far off the rails now. That's one thing I'm super worried about this new set of Avengers movies is what have you set up, like what have you put into motion it's going to give us that Avengers Assemble moment, you know?
And that's the issue, right? It's gonna have to start with Cap 4.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What's our next Avengers? Is it Cap 4?
Cap 4. We're getting it in February.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I watched that Thunderbolts trailer, and it does look badass.
Yeah. Oh, you've seen the trailer? I haven't seen the Thunderbolts trailer.
Oh, okay. It leaked.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh man,
Okay.
I watched the leaked version.
Gotcha.
And
it looks cool.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually. It actually looks really good.
Good.
I like Yelena a lot anyway, but like the way they shoot the action in it is very unique. There's like an action scene where with it's U.S. agent. Yelena, Ghost, and Taskmaster. And obviously from the trailer, I can't tell whether they did anything about the character integrity of Taskmaster.
Right, yeah.
But the fucking action scene looks incredible. Like, there's this part where Yelena throws like a knife at U.S. agent, and he catches it in one motion, throws it back at her, and like she dodges it. And Ghost is like running up, and of course the knife phases through Ghost, and Yelena like turns around, and then Ghost runs through her as well, and like knocks the dog shit out of U.S. Agent. Like the whole thing looked really cool. Yeah.
What the fuck has Ghost been up to in the past 10 years?
I don't know what Ghost was doing in the movie that Ghost was in. But I do know that like 3-second clip was the most cool Ghost we've gotten in the MCU.
That's dope. I'm gonna have to see that.
The only cool Ghost we got other than that was in Game of Thrones.
Oh man!
And for a while, I was kind of hoping that was the case. They just got the wolf.
Got the wolf. Yeah.
Because if you would have put a direwolf in the movie, I'm down.
I'm good. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Have you seen that Daredevil Born Again trailer yet?
No, I'm waiting for the official.
Okay.
I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah.
But I was like just scrolling along. It was like, oh yeah, the Thunderbolts footage looks really good. You can click here, and I was like, I mean, they can't hurt it. Click.
That's true.
And then I was like, okay, yeah, okay. I want to know if Ross is going to be in it, but okay.
Again, he has to, right?
He has to be.
But yeah, I still think that that Cap 4 and Thunderbolt should have switched villains. That just seems. But okay, whatever.
But just like you said, they're going to have to lay some groundwork. I mean, like the only thing I can think of right now that we already have is like a crazy Hulk moment, where he busts out of Smart Hulk. We see like a real Hulk reemergence. Yeah, that'll get a pop in the theater.
Oh yeah.
Now,
but do you want to put Green Hulk in Cap 4?
He's got to be in it.
Do you think that steals any thunder from Cap? Because then people are just going to be looking for the fight,
Oh, yeah. I 100% think that the last fight is going to be Cap and Hulk versus Red Hulk. Maybe Cap and Hulk versus Red Hulk versus Sidewinder. Because I don't think Sidewinder is going to be on a team with Red Hulk. I think he might be the reason Red Hulk is there. But I think Sidewinder's trying to kill them all. Like, I think Sidewinder's like, the only way we're going to get rid of the Hulk is with another Hulk.
Yeah.
And I can't fight his logic on that.
But then what do you do with the other Hulk?
Right, yeah. I mean, are you going to just hope they just pull a Doomsday Superman?
And just kill each other?
Kill each other? That's quite a fucking gamble because, like,
right.
What if they become friends and
now you fuck.
Now there's two of them, and then next thing you know, you get the old man Logan shit where there's just a family of inbred Hulks.
Family of inbred Hulks. No one wants that.
Yeah,
except for the Hulk.
Right. I don't even know if Ruffalo's Hulk wants that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. But Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past, man. So
maybe Wolverine will be in Captain America.
Wolverine's just gonna pop open all over them now, and then Deadpool's gonna be right behind them till you're 90. Days of Future Past, man. Like this movie, again, for those of you who weren't there in 2014, this was the shit.
Yeah, and it still holds up. I mean,
it still holds up, which is incredible.
I watched it last night, and I was like, "Kay, I gotta watch Days of Future Past tonight. We're reviewing it tomorrow." She's like, "Didn't you just watch that movie?" I was like, "Yeah, like 2 weeks ago." But I mean, I'm gonna watch it again.
Watch it again. Yeah, so earlier, like almost at the top of the pod, when we started this review proper, you asked me, like, what were some of my what was my least favorite moment? What was yours?
Least favorite moment. It's probably the Mystique infiltrates the X Mansion. Not with her Mystique powers, but with Beast being a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Like,
He's always had a weird soft spot for her in these movies.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it tracks with the first movie. Like, he was really into her, whatever. And she's really into him. It's not like it's not reciprocated. But man, there's just it's problematic, right? Like it just further undermines his character.
Yeah.
You know, that he wouldn't even be slightly suspicious of, like, Charles was just in Cerebro trying to convince her at the airport. And she's like, I got to shut this fucking machine down or he's going to know everything I do.
Yep.
And so she shows up to shut your fucking Cerebro down. He doesn't question it at all. He's just like, look at them titties.
Right.
Come here, girl. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. And that's just me having to try to pick something out. Also, like, kind of that extended sequence with the Vietnamese guy. None of this is stuff that I'm like, oh, this is awful. But it's just like, I could do without it, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to pick a low point in this movie because it has so many high points.
Right. And again, like, the pacing really lends itself to the movie because, like, even, like, the little things that you can nitpick at, like, the pacing with the action and then with just the character work is so high intense that, like, all the little nitpick stuff can get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
You know?
Magneto in the third act is so perfect.
Yeah.
Because, like,
it's like, y'all should have seen this coming.
He didn't have to pick that stadium up.
He didn't.
He's dramatic as shit. You know what I mean? He's always trying to make an entrance.
Yes.
And I love how even at the end when he's beaten, you know, he looks to Charles and he's like, hey, you know I'm as good as dead if you let him have me. And even though he's just been a massive douche nozzle,
right?
Charles lets him go because he knows, like, he doesn't want to, you know, he knows they're going to give him the fucking trash to be experimented on.
Oh, yeah, it won't be like just an execution.
No.
He's going to,
they're going to torture him. Yeah. So I love that aspect of it. And as we've talked about a lot, it's really hard to nail a third act. They did it here. They had all that. The best action is it here at the end. And I think that the way that they actually go about Mystique choosing not to kill them is actually like a really pivotal, cool moment. How we get there may not be my favorite thing in the world, like, you know, but I do think the moment plays super well in the movie.
No, I agree with you on that. And, you know, it was like, if we're going to go this route, then this is probably the best case scenario for it, you know? After watching this movie, because I rewatched the movie like shortly after I reread the comic book, and, you know, I read just like one or two, like, some of the side stories that they have for Days of Future Past, and it got me thinking. So I don't know if Marvel tries to go back to that well and do their own version of Days of Future Past again. Question number one, would you be interested in seeing them try something like that?
Oh, man, they need to wait a long time, right? I mean, I feel like they need to wait till at least like 2030 to try something like that.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have the fact that, like, time travel was just used as a huge part of Endgame, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to top that, right? And also, if there's like they have to build up a Kitty Pryde, you know? I definitely would love to see Marvel actually use Kitty.
Yeah.
Like, you make a Kitty Pryde character a pillar of your X-Men franchise because you know you want to do this story.
Yeah.
And you plan ahead, I want to eventually be able to do this. And you lay the building blocks for it. Fox got very lucky here because they didn't lay any groundwork for this.
Right.
But they got so lucky that they had the existing franchise and they could go, oh, okay, well, we can make this work. You know? And there's a few things where it's, don't think about it, Morty, you know? Like you mentioned earlier with like Sabretooth or whatever, but, you know. And also, what the fuck happens to the Logan that existed from 1973 until he pops back in? Yeah. Does all that just get deleted? Did that person get deleted?
And see, that's the thing, right? So we see Stryker, well, Mystique, whoever, pull Logan out.
Stryker.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, so Stryker Mystique got Wolverine. Are we supposed to assume that leads right into like the Weapon X stuff?
Yeah, I mean, because in the same continuity, we see him in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. We see him in the Weapon X garb and all of that.
Yeah.
None of that tracks with Logan.
No.
I mean, with X-Men Origins Wolverine, none of that tracks.
Oh, no.
It doesn't track with that either.
Well, I guess because what happens in 1973, like, it erased that timeline because now that's also why we don't have the Deadpool with the mouth shut. Yeah. Because none of that shit ever happened.
Well, I thought it was because Deadpool went back in time and shot Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, no, that they didn't do that until later in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Because this was the original, like, we fixed the X-Men timeline.
That's true.
No. He shot Ryan Reynolds to keep him from doing Green Lantern.
But then he also went back and shot Mouthless Deadpool.
Mouthless Deadpool, yeah. But yeah, I love the ending to this.
Yeah.
It kind of fixed everything, right?
Man, it was had they ended it here, I think it would have been a perfect ending. Like,
yeah.
If they couldn't, if it's either we get what we got or they ended here, I would have liked for them to end it there.
Well, obviously, like, this is where they were done creatively, right? I mean, all the people who had traditionally been attached to this franchise, except for what's his name that did Dark Phoenix?
Simon Kinberg.
Yeah. Everybody except Kinberg was like, all right, we're out. Yeah. You know, we made fucking 5 of these and a bunch of spinoffs. Like,
right.
You know.
Yeah, if we just could have skipped from
this to Logan.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
But, you know, they were like, well, we got to keep making X-Men. You know, Days of Future Past made all this money, you know, and then, Deadpool made all this money.
Right. What's another famous X-Men story we can use? What about Apocalypse?
And let's not forget at all that despite Deadpool making more money than all their motherfucking X-Men films, they weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Not only were they not going to do it, when Ryan Reynolds had to leak the fucking footage to the internet.
Allegedly.
Yeah. To cause enough uproar to where they felt like they were forced to do it. They then gave the Deadpool movie the shittiest, most lackluster budget.
It had a shoestring budget, dog.
There are literally episodes of Rings of Power that cost more than Deadpool 1. There are episodes of She-Hulk that probably had a better budget.
You can't tell, but yeah.
Yeah, you can't tell, but to the point where the scene at the end of Deadpool 1 where he leaves his guns in the car is literally because they didn't have the money to do the scene.
Right. They couldn't afford to shoot that shit.
Yeah.
So,
they made that movie with fucking popsicle sticks and bubblegum.
Right. And I forget which portion, but there was something that Ryan Reynolds actually paid for out of pocket. And not only that, but Fox didn't want to do a whole lot of promotion for the movie either.
No.
And so Ryan Reynolds, he stole one of the Deadpool suits. And did a bunch of his own promotions. And if you guys remember, most of the promotion you saw for Deadpool 1 was online marketing. And that was Ryan Reynolds with the camera guy.
Yeah.
Shooting shit.
And a lot, he actually went to like a couple of talk show, like daytime talk shows and shit as Deadpool, like in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was brilliant marketing. And I mean, god damn, it paid off big time. Those 3 movies are over $2 billion.
Yeah. And you know, after the first one, they were like, wow, we got to get a second one out right now, you know? And then it was just like, maybe people are really going to love the X-Men again. And you're like, damn, you sure as fuck didn't want any of them to be in those movies.
Right.
Because during Apocalypse, they filmed a little 2-second cameo that's in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Where they go to the X-Men and he's like, how come none of the X-Men are ever here? And then they all peek from behind the door, which was clever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it was very clear that creatively they had nothing at that point. But
it was obvious.
I agree with you, man. If they'd have just called it right here, like this ending, like let that wrap up the X-Men franchise, go do your Deadpool and Logan stuff.
Yeah.
It would have been such a better time because it's clear they didn't have anything. And honestly, the 2 end credit scenes on this, the one is cool where we see that they've put Trask in the prison that Magneto was in, which I'm like, why?
Why'd you put him in there?
Why'd you put him in there? I mean, it's funny.
Yeah, you can put him in like a normal prison.
Yeah, he's just a little guy. He can't. He's a fucking level 3 halfling scientist. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Artificer, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Put him in there. Well, whatever.
I mean, don't give him any robotics, I guess.
We should have known Apocalypse was going to be bad based on this after credit scene, right? Because the CGI was god awful.
But you know what though? The movie was so Days of Future Past was so good. That experience was so pure and good.
Yeah.
And then Apocalypse, such a great idea, such a great villain. I think subconsciously I was able to put aside how awful.
Yeah, me too. Because I remember being so hyped.
Yeah.
Because, as soon as you figure out they're in ancient Egypt, it's the same thing that happened with 97, right? Where you're immediately just like, fuck, there's only one reason to be here.
Right.
You know? And then, you didn't think anything of it when you see him just fucking warping this pyramid together.
And then you learn that, oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah, because Days of Future Past was 2014. Apocalypse was 2016. Dark Phoenix was 19.
And you got to think by the time Apocalypse comes out, we already have Age of Ultron.
Yep.
And we're getting Civil War.
Yep.
And then we're getting Infinity War by the time fucking Dark Phoenix comes out.
Endgame.
Oh, yeah. Infinity War is already out.
Yeah.
Endgame coming out. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, it's great, right? Because, Fox is like, well, we may be going up, but we're going out with a bang. We got something that can compete with this Endgame shit. Check this out. Dark Phoenix.
Starring Sansa Stark.
That movie, I hate to go back to Dark Phoenix, but that movie had one of the worst uses of the F-bomb that I've ever seen. You remember that?
I don't remember the F-bomb in it.
It was a scene when, what's her name? The villain in the movie.
The weird alien chick?
Yeah, played by redhead that looks like the other redhead.
Oh, it's literally both of their names just blanked out for me.
Right, me too.
Because you asked me about it. But if you hadn't asked me about it, I would be able to tell you in a heartbeat. Fuck, man.
This shit is crazy.
Yeah, I have to go.
What the fuck was her name?
Oh, man. Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I was actually going to the Jurassic World cast page because I knew if my brain could remember Bryce Dallas Howard,
you remember
then
Jessica Chastain.
I would remember Jessica Chastain because Bryce Dallas Howard's dad actually mistaked Jessica Chastain for her. That's how much they look alike.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And especially when they were both very skinny. Obviously you can pick out thick mommy Bryce Dallas Howard now.
I like thick mommy Bryce Dallas Howard.
Call me girl.
Hey.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do whatever house chores you want.
Hey, yeah, I got it. Shit.
Yeah.
But there was a scene in Dark Phoenix, I believe it was when her character, Jessica Chastain's character, was doing something nefarious.
I honestly forgot she was in this, and I bet she could too.
Yeah. She was doing something nefarious with good old Sansa Stark, Jean Grey. And Cyclops steps up and he says something like, if you touch her, I'll fucking kill you. And I was like, the fuck did this come from? it was just the most, and again, like most of those new X-Men, and by that time, they all just look like dorks.
They really do.
And so like I couldn't take it seriously, so it just made me laugh.
Yeah. By Apocalypse, like only Xavier and Magneto are good.
Yeah.
I hated their new Storm that they got.
Alexandra Shipp.
Yeah. There were so many problems with it, and then by Dark Phoenix, like nobody's good. You know, you just don't care at that point.
Yeah, I don't think they. And again, going back to Apocalypse, man, like it's like on one hand, yeah, it's cool to get Archangel, but fuck, at what cost?
Yeah,
like the actual Angel we got in X3 was way better than this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You remember when everybody thought that like X3 was like the worst X-Men movie we could get? And if you go back and look at it now, by comparison, X3 is just mid. You know, they make a bunch of quick decisions and like not everything makes a whole lot of sense, but fucking Magneto sure as fuck picks up the Golden Gate Bridge with his mind with a bunch of fucking mutants on it, uses that shit to make a bridge to an island, and they have a big ass battle.
Yeah. Well, in Dark Phoenix, they fight on the train.
You know, they said that they had to like cut that whole thing because of...
They had to do reshoots to add it because the movie had nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, like, you guys, you can go back 5 years and listen to our review. I pointed something out that I still haven't heard anyone else talk about, and I need answers now. That train scene, the fight scene on the train, was done as a reshoot. Like, they added that in. And during the review, I said, Kevin, did you notice the fucking armbands that the bad guys were wearing? It was the Mutant Control Unit, and it was MCU.
Yeah.
And I was like, is no one else going to talk about this shit?
Yeah. Right. I do remember that, both that being in the movie and you talking about it on the review. Damn, I like had something and it just like...
Oh, I understand that.
Dang, man. Like, it just vaporized.
Yeah, it just means someone needed that idea more than you at the moment.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly they did because that... I was going to say, I was reading the other day about, James Gunn just wrapped principal photography, that's a tongue twister, on Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
Did you know that his last 3 movies combined have only had 1 day worth of reshoots?
I read that, and I was like, that's incredible.
Yeah. And he was just like, yeah, you just hire competent people and like have your script before you start shooting the movie, because apparently I was reading about who was the interview with somebody does shit with a bunch of Marvel stuff. I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been Colby Smulders. And kind of what they were talking about is like a lot of times Marvel doesn't even have their script done when they start shooting.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, apparently like they'll have like their outline and they have the big action set pieces. And because there's so many effects on those, they actually will go ahead and shoot those first. And the script's not even completely done.
Fucking hell.
And they'll go ahead and start shooting those big set pieces so they can go ahead and start working on the effects and everything.
Yeah, that sounds like that was during the Victoria Alonso era of Marvel.
I'm so glad that they're gone.
Yeah, same.
I forget what I was watching. I think it might have been Secret Invasion. And like the credits started rolling. It was just like executive producer Victoria Alonso. And I was like, yeah.
Her name is also on Thor, Love and Thunder, and Ant-Man Quantumania.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out, bitch.
Yeah, so I think I do agree with you though about how Marvel should probably wait to revisit Days of Future Past. However, I think in lieu of the success of 97, they are going to want to do some future stuff. And that it may not mean Bastion. I would love to see a live action Bastion.
God.
But it could mean Nimrod as well.
I think what I would love to see I I would actually really love to see like have them make this an MCU wide event.
Oh yeah.
Like you have an X-Men movie that's like an Avengers level event, and like the Avengers are in it too. And I could actually even see where they could do something where the Avengers kind of led into this. I mean, I obviously like the Tony Ultron thing's already been played, so you can't do like the Tony helped them build the Sentinels or whatever. But that's that's totally a believable thing that could happen. Is like, you know, fucking Bolivar Trask like comes to Tony Stark one day like, oh hey, can I get your pointers on this work I'm doing? And he doesn't tell him that it's a mutant killing machine or whatever. You know, and then, you know, you have that element where, like, yeah, the Avengers are, like, also trying to help the X-Men stop it.
Right.
But, like, the X-Men kind of have that chip on their shoulder, like, you motherfuckers are partially responsible.
Right.
You know, I could totally see all of that playing out super well if they made all the pieces work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know how true this is, and at this point, I kind of hope it's more rumor than truth, but, I mean, I've heard speculation that Marvel is interested in doing an Avengers versus X-Men movie.
I have heard a lot of that going around too, and I am all for that. That sounds like a phenomenal way to get people back after Secret Wars. I feel like you have to. But what's the Avengers lineup going to look like after Secret Wars?
Right. Because, like, at this point, you practically have all the mutants to choose from.
Yeah.
And who you got for Avengers? You know, you got Doctor Strange.
You got Doctor Strange. You got Spider-Man.
You got Can you get Thor back again? Or
I think Thor is going to eat it in Secret Wars.
Ooh.
Because Hemsworth said he wants to do one more.
Yeah.
That, or, I mean, obviously, now, thanks to Deadpool and Wolverine, we have to get that moment. Right?
Can't we not just assume that was from like a different universe?
No, dog. Nobody wants that. As a matter of fact, we were talking earlier about, like, here's these things they could lay the groundwork for. Other than like a Hulk resurgence, that's what we got, dude. Everyone wants to know why Thor was crying in that scene, man. They made that a thing that they have to fulfill now. They absolutely have to.
Chris Hemsworth's like, I didn't agree to none of this shit.
Chris Hemsworth isn't even in the shot. Like,
I know.
They say it's a repurpose.
That was a repurposed shot from Thor 2.
Yeah.
It's like a 10-year-old reshoot.
But they made it such a big deal, man. The whole internet, like, everyone wants it now. We have to know.
Oh, shit.
So they have to do some kind of moment with that now in Secret Wars.
Oh, my God.
Or
what if they gave Deadpool the Chris Evans treatment and you see the hammer levitate?
Oh, God. If they do that, like, they have to do something where, like, it levitates or whatever, and he, like, holds his hand and it flies past him.
Right.
And there's, like, somebody behind him,
Yeah.
you know. It's Peter.
Right. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Has Spider-Man ever picked up Mjolnir in the comics?
I don't believe he has. No. Huh. It's because he probably knows he somehow use it to pay his rent or some shit.
Yeah. How much money can I get for this?
Right. Oh, shit. Yeah, so an Avengers versus X-Men movie, it could be interesting, but it would have to mean something.
They'd have to do a lot because, like, Hulk, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, maybe.
Sam Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, you got Cap, Sam Wilson, Cap. They're adding another Falcon. I don't know how I feel about this guy.
I never cared for Falcon number 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a hard time believing they're going to, like, even if the movie is good, I don't feel like they're going to make me care about.
Yeah, Disney, you might want to pump the brakes on making his toys.
Yeah. We got Yelena.
Yep.
You know, it's not a horrible team. It's not the A squad.
It's a hodgepodge for damn sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like you said, we got Doctor Strange on there.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch is out there. Which team is she on?
Yeah, well, right. Yeah, there's that question. Then the question of where's her mental stability?
Oh yeah, that's true.
You know? Yeah, and then are we not going to talk about how we just randomly saw a statue of her in Deadpool and Wolverine?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We apparently are not going to talk about that.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
I mean, she's probably renowned across the multiverse.
Yeah.
That bitch killed Reed Richards in like 2 seconds.
No one else could do that fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess like beyond the roster, it's the reasoning. Why are the Avengers and X-Men fighting?
I mean, it's very clear that an Avengers versus X-Men type thing, Doom is probably responsible. And then they all end up teaming up, at the end. Because you have to do it that way.
Yeah.
You can't have one of your two major teams go under,
That's true. If they do it, man, I would love to see some of the pairings from the comic. Like the comic, I'm not crazy about it, but I mean, it's got some fun pair ups. Like Cap versus Cyclops is very fun.
Oh yeah.
Cap has this thing that he's done a couple times in the comic books where someone is talking, and then like he just hit him with a shield.
Yeah.
And that shit, that shit hurt.
Yeah.
They did Doctor Strange versus Magic in that comic.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
If they do this Avengers versus X-Men, which one of those fucking stupid ass kid Avengers ends up fighting X-23?
Dog. Oh,
it better be Kamala, because anybody else is gonna die real fast.
Trying to think, like, I don't know.
If it ain't Miss Marvel, like, they did this shit.
Yeah,
because I love Kate Bishop, but she gonna die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I get it, right? Kate is all range and X-23 is all close distance, but as soon as that distance closes,
it's over with. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're getting riggedy right.
Well, I guess they could T'Challa's kid.
See, the problem is T'Challa only has one cool kid, and that's Azuri. That's the child he has with Storm, and this kid ain't it. Let's see. There's some cool parallels they could do. Scarlet Witch versus Jean Grey.
Or do you come up with a good reason? And they'd have to play this super well. Do you put X-23 on the Avengers? And you put her in a scenario where she has to fight Wolverine.
Oh shit.
And you'd have Logan holding back. He's like, I'm not going to fight you.
Well, let's just go full fever dream and it's Calverine.
Oh my God. I want some more Calverine, goddammit.
We all do. Oh, we all fucking do.
That should be the Wolverine in Secret Wars.
Oh,
put Hugh in Doomsday.
Yeah.
And then put the Calverine in Secret Wars, goddammit.
I would love that.
Everybody wants more Calverine.
Right.
Like my favorite Wolverine characters in order are Wolverine, X-23, and the Cavalry. And then it's a steep drop off from there.
Oh shit. Man, let's go ahead and wrap up here on Days of Future Past since we have gone off the deep end again.
We have. What a tremendous movie. What a just hallmark of not only the X-Men comics, but of the X-Men movies. As I said earlier at the start of this, this is easily my favorite movie with the words X-Men in the title.
Agreed.
I actually would say that I definitely like it better than all of them except for Logan. It's about on par with Logan for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I like it more than Deadpool and Wolverine or not. I definitely like it. Deadpool and Wolverine is so hard to judge because it is so meta.
It's so meta, and it's such its own thing.
Right.
Speaking of which, I always assumed that this shot was it inspired that scene in Deadpool and Wolverine, the tombstone shot.
Yes, where they're walking through that field.
Yeah,
it's badass. But what a great movie. This was the best shot that Fox called for sure. Tremendous movie, and that's it. Like, we never got another good X-Men movie, with the word X-Men in it. So,
did Simon Kinberg? Did he write this?
Simon Kinberg worked on a fuck ton of these movies.
He did.
Yeah. Which is why we were all like, "Oh, okay, well, when he's going to direct one, that's fucking cool, right?"
it's like how, because I'm pretty sure I saw that he has like a bunch of or writing credits for Days of Future Past.
He wrote.
Yeah, he did.
He wrote The Last Stand.
Ooh, yeah.
And Jumper. I didn't know.
Okay.
That. He was a producer on First Class, but did not write it. Mm-hmm. He was a producer on Elysium, but did not write it, clearly. He wrote and produced on Days of Future Past.
Right.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, that explains it all, actually. Do you know what I just saw?
What?
Check out the top there.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
He wrote Fan Four Stick and produced it. The Josh Trank, awful as fuck Fantastic Four movie that is worse than Dark Phoenix, even.
And then he came back and said, let me try again, and wrote and produced Apocalypse.
Yeah. And then he wrote, produced, and directed Dark Phoenix. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What's the 355? Have you heard of that?
I have not, no. Okay. But he was a producer on Deadpool, The Martian, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, Logan.
Apparently,
Deadpool
he's a
2.
Tremendous producer.
Yeah. He just shouldn't be allowed to do anything. He actually was the executive producer on Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all let this motherfucker near a movie? He's like, do you guys want me to write treatment? No. We just wouldn't want to. We wouldn't want to put you through that. We wouldn't have asked that of you.
Well, if you don't have a director in mind, I would love.
No. We actually already, Ryan specifically wanted Sean Levy. We just need to go with him.
I got you. On the next one, then, right?
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Like if this one just tanks, we'll talk.
Okay. Well, you got my number still?
Yeah. We got it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you again.
Well, it's a company phone. We can look it up.
Okay. Oh man!
Apparently, you just want this guy on set, but he can't do anything.
He's a good luck charm until he starts working.
Yeah, then you're fucked. How does the person who writes this movie sit down? Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Sit down with Dark Phoenix and go, "This is fine,"
bruh. That shit is crazy.
Yeah.
That shit's wild. Oh,
maybe something happened to him. Maybe he was in an accident.
Oh, I got
had a really traumatic thing happen.
Right.
He went to that place where they have those tiny fish that can swim up your pee hole.
Oh, dog, like from the rundown?
From the Amazon or whatever. Yeah. Those are real. Those are a real thing.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Jesus, I hope he didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, maybe something happened to him.
I don't know, but what I do know is, Mr. Kinberg, I appreciate all of your positive contributions to the comic book community. Because of your efforts in some way, shape, or capacity, you have given us or helped give us some really, really good comic book movies. Days of Future Past being one of them. Bryan Singer, you may be a piece of shit, but you directed the hell out of this movie.
Yeah. We think both of you are cooler than Greg Berlanti. So it's Kevin's birthday. I gotta shit on.
You gotta shit. Yeah,
you gotta shit on Greg Berlanti.
Gotta do it for Kevin. And also, fuck John Peters. Also for Kevin.
Yeah.
and for us.
Yeah. As I say, also for us. Yeah. He's a real piece of shit.
Right. But Days of Future Past is just a tremendous movie, man. And again, I had a blast watching this, going back down memory lane. I remember actually watching the Wolverine and getting the post-credit scene there at the end and being super hyped for what's to come. And then Days of Future Past just delivered upon that.
Where we got the yellow and blue suit, and then we wouldn't actually get to see it for another decade.
I mean, the suit still fits.
Hey,
yeah. Old brown and tan.
It just pisses me off that he looks so badass in it.
I know, and both of them, right?
And all this time, Fox was just like, "Yeah, we don't want to put him in the suit."
I know that would look ridiculous.
When he pulled that cowl over, I think everyone collectively went through puberty again.
Yes,
we were all just like, he looks so badass.
that's so fucking cool.
But yeah, fucking Vegeta just right. It's so cool. Yeah. Like, did they ever even put him in the suit? Just to see?
No, you know they didn't.
He put that shit on, and he looked fucking terrifying.
Badass.
Yeah.
Oh, it looked so badass. Imagine if they had that same mentality when they made the first Spider-Man movie. Well, we can't have him be in the red and blue suit. Yeah, that would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, we're not paying all this money for Toby to cover his face up. Yeah, but I mean, it's horrifying to see motherfucking Hugh Jackman running at you with the fucking claws out.
Right.
But to see this fucking thing come at you, you don't know what it is until you're dead before you know what it is.
Oh yeah. Facts. Well, with that being said, we have a shit ton of episodes planned.
Umbrella Academy, are we doing that next?
Oh, yeah, it's only 6 episodes, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I should start that.
Oh, you haven't started yet?
No.
Okay.
If I haven't seen it by Saturday, we could do Guardians.
Yeah, that's right. We can do Guardians. Have you seen any of the Cape Crusader yet?
Nope.
Okay. Have you seen Watchmen Chapter 1 yet? Okay.
No, but I thought it was a TV show, but it's just going to be a 2-parter thing.
Yeah.
So I do have it. So yeah, I thought it was going to be like a show, but
I thought so too. It was just
part
one.
two.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think they're going to release part 2 for a little bit. I think they're still.
Yeah. So we can probably just do part 1. And
then, as its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch one of those things, and if I don't, for some reason I can't watch any of that by Saturday, we'll just do Guardians. Yeah, but we got something. Oh, we also have to get. This is gonna have to be way after Dragon Con probably, but we are getting ready to do our Mistborn review, and I still got to read Saga. So.
Oh yeah, the 3 entries in the Mistborn.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap up Era 1.
Yeah, Saga. You, me, and the homie Dylan are going to do the Suicide Squad.
Isekai, yeah.
Have you started that any?
No, have you seen any of it?
I've seen the first 2.
What do you think of it so far?
It's very anime.
Oh, no. In a good way or a bad way, or just for better or worse?
It took me off guard at first. And by episode 2... I'm like, okay, I've kind of settled into what this is going to be.
I'm expecting anime shenanigans, so.
A ton of it. Ton of it. Yeah.
More than Agent Paper?
It's up there with
Agent Paper. About the
same?
Yeah.
About the
same.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan likes it, so, you know.
Yeah, you know.
and an isekai is anime as fuck, like just the concept of it.
Yes, I don't know what an isekai is, so I didn't even know what I signed up for.
It's a whole brand of anime, right? Like it's a sub-genre of anime where your protagonist or protagonists are transported to another world.
Gotcha. That makes sense because like after I saw the first 2 episodes, I told Dylan, I said, man, this feels like watching an anime D&D campaign with a Suicide Squad skin.
That's about what I'm expecting, actually.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Well. It's interesting. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's interesting, to say the least. We got all of that and a bunch more coming down the pipeline. I mean, hell, our review of Dragon Con itself.
Yes.
So, homies, for those of you who are going to be at Dragon Con, look for us because we'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be there. Come up and say hey slowly.
Yeah. Approach with caution. And alcohol, preferably.
Yes. Yeah, if you... I'm actually not going to take a random drink unsealed from any of you. But if you got like a sealed Dragon's Nectar from the Monk's Meadery,
hey, come on,
not a sponsor, but they could be. We'll put you over.
Yeah.
Then by all means, bring some of that shit. You got some Imperial Dragon from them. You bring that shit over.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we're gonna get as much of this done before Dragon Con as we can, and then we're gonna have some time off. And then we're going to come back and review that shit, and we're going to keep on rolling right into Kraven or Venom 3, whichever one drives us into alcoholism first.
Oh, and also got Joker 2. When does that come? October?
I've actually actively been trying to forget about that. I am going to the beach in October. I really hope it coincides with that release. Right now, before we sign off, last thing, just off the top of your head, do you think Joker 2 or Venom 3 will be worse?
Venom 3 would be worse.
Yeah, same.
Okay, yeah.
All right, folks.
Well, that's gonna be all for this one, homies. We hope you guys enjoyed this this blast from the past, the days of future past.
Days of future past.
Yeah. This has been a blast, though. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this. We have had a great time here, looking back at this fantastic story, this fantastic movie. Highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it in a while. Some of you may not have seen it, period. Check it out. It's fantastic. But that's going to be all for now. We'll see you guys again in just a few days. So until then, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.